Hey guys, Jonah here, back with the beer review. And guess what? I'm trying to use them up a bit because this is the box that I need to use. It's the oldest one, Siren's 10th birthday box. You know how we're doing it. And I've had this beer before at the GBBF actually, and I rated it reasonably high. It wasn't this year, it was last year. And yes, the Siren, along with Vocation, were my top breweries of the festival. They were fantastic. They did do a lot of key keg stuff, so it wasn't all cask, but they they were just so clean. They were absolutely fantastic beers. Anyway, the one we are doing today is this one. It's not focusing. There we go. Memento. And it's an interesting one. It's a Nitro Best at 3.8%. So it's unusual to have a Nitro Best beer. Long time ago, there used to be things in the pubs. I think it was mainly started by Guinness. And they did things like the Kilkenny. What was the other beer? They did one of the other beers. I think Green King did one as well. And I think you could get Nitro John Smith's as well. I don't think many of those beers still exist in pubs, but in cans, why the hell not? So there we go. It says tasting notes: a wholesome best bitter, true to this iconic beer style, with a few respectful treats, biscuit malts and caramel, balanced with English hops, and a touch of Cascade in there as well. Ooh, very, very nice. And it says a nitro pour reminiscent of a traditional cask pint, which is ironic because nitro and cask are totally different things. But the malts, which we know, a Maris Hotter, which is fantastic, Munich, Caragold, Crystal Medium, DRC, whatever the hell that is, a wheat malt. Wheat malt is unusual. Beg your pardon, dear viewer. Yeah, in an English beer which is supposed to be a cask beer. Not sure. Anyway, it is what it is, dear viewer. Oh, by the way, think about subscribing. It really does help my channel out. So if you're new, why not think about clicking like and subscribe and all that good stuff. There we go. Memento Nitro Modern Best Bitter. Modern Best, bit of an oxymoron there. Very strange. It's got the 10th birthday logo, which all these beers have. Says all the stuff that I've read already for you. 3.8%. And it's obviously one of Siren's own. And like a lot of these beers, they're all coming out of Berkshire, or some people call it Berkshire. But yeah, Berkshire. I wonder if it's got one of those things to click on. No, it doesn't. Anyway, let's go back to this thing, which is quite black and white. It looks a bit like a tattoo, don't you think? Some sort of weird black and white tattoo. Anyway, this is interesting. It says, pour hard and fast and stick it up like that way, upside down. Nitro pours. You've got to be a bit careful because it can all go pear-shaped. But I have the traditional Nitro Guinness type thing. I'm going to have to do this a little bit off camera, but I will lift said glass up. So I've got to open it and put it in the glass as soon as possible. I tried doing this upside down once, and don't do that because it fucks it up big time. But open, there we go, pour, boom. So you're literally chucking it in as fast as you possibly can. And unlike the Guinness, there we go. Unlike the Guinness, I don't have the upside down snowstorm, but I have got a fat, absolutely fat head. And this is a nitro head. It shouldn't be, well, there are a few bubbles in there. There shouldn't be any massive bubbles. Headwise, 2 fingers, easily 2 fingers, and you can definitely see me through there. So that is reasonably clear. Let me tell you that I think there is a touch. This is not bright. I would not call this bright. There is a touch of haze to that beer. Oh, lovely, lovely stuff. And it's a nitro head, so this will be interesting to see if this chases the beer down the glass. Now, I was interested because there is, oh, is there something in there? No, I think it's just a piece of head in there. It's not, there is no widget in there, which is what I was looking for, dear viewer. I'm not sure how they've managed to achieve the nitro part, but look at that. It looks absolutely proper, like a proper pint of dishwater beer, which is what I used to say about best beers, which I really, really like. There is a nuttiness to the aroma, a maltiness too, a sweetness too. There is also, I'm in my yeast mode at the moment. There's also a tiny bit of kind of a lemony, perhaps Belgian-y style yeast in there. I don't know exactly what they've done, but I would not be surprised if they've done something with the yeast as well. Anyway, dear viewer, life is good. Oh, I tell you what, before I pass that up, I better do a photo because I would forget otherwise. So Memento, and we'll stick that on the front of this video, as you well know, dear viewer, because you've already seen the thumbnail. Cheers and beers. Oh, there is something else in there. A touch of something, a tiny bit astringent. Maybe, is there any rye in here, perhaps? Did it mention rye on the actual ingredients list? Let us have a look. Right, so we've got barley, we've got wheat. So no rye. I wonder if that's coming from the wheat. It's weird because I don't think it would be. This is not, in my opinion, a proper pint of best. There's something going on there which is not good. There's a nice nuttiness to it. There's a nice maltiness, a graininess, but there's a little bit of spiciness in there, which I'm not 100% sure what that's coming from. But there's also a kind of lemony kind of thing going on. It's kind of like what we used to call the homebrew twang. And maybe that's because it's been sitting on nitrogen for a while. But nitrogen's inert, so it shouldn't be that. It's almost like a bit of a metallic kind of thing. Maybe the can was slightly damaged or something like that on the inside, and the beer is interacting with the metal. But yeah, it's definitely a more malty beer than a bitter beer. Oh, pardon me, dear viewer. And I think the nitro makes it super smooth to drink. So there's a couple of different reasons you would use nitro. One of them is we have still got a fat head and we are getting towards the bottom of the glass. Everybody likes fat head. But this is, yeah, this is something you'll notice it on a Guinness as well. The head will stay from the top of the beer all the way down to the bottom of the glass. It's stuck there. The bubbles themselves are really small, generally, if it's proper nitro. Obviously, nitro, you can do a different amount because it's got CO2 in it as well. So it's a balance of CO2 and nitrogen, and it can go from sort of 20/80 to 30/70 and sort of places in between. And the majority of that is carbon dioxide, I have to say. The nitrogen will probably only maximum. I mean, I think I've seen them as high as 60%, but sorry, it's a 40/60. So the nitrogen would be 40%. Which means there's much more small bubbles. That's why there was a little few bigger bubbles in. So this is probably a higher ratio of carbon dioxide because there's no widget in the can, not like the Guinness cans. I would say this has just been put on gas in a big container somewhere and then put into the cans, maybe under pressure perhaps, or in a nitrogen environment, but it hasn't got pure nitrogen to help it with that. And that's why there was not that upside down snowstorm as well when I had just poured the beer. The other reason you would use nitrogen is so the beer might last longer, because nitrogen, believe it or not, is in packets of crisps and things like that. They basically put it in a nitrogen environment while they're packaging, and the nitrogen, instead of oxygen or carbon dioxide or normal air, the nitrogen means that the product, whatever it may be, whether it's a beer or a packet of crisps, will last longer. So the shelf life is longer too. Lots of different reasons for using it. This beer, however, there's something odd in the taste. I mean, they have described it. There we are. See, got head at the bottom of the glass. They have described it as Nitro Modern Best, which God knows what that means. Modern Best. Bit of an oxymoron. I think basically they're saying it's their version of a best bitter. And it's like reinventing the wheel. A best bitter is best for a reason, because that's the way you make it absolutely the best. So messing around with something the best, you probably don't get even better. And unfortunately, in this case, it's a nice beer, don't get me wrong, but it is definitely not a cask, dishwater, fantastic pint that we've had in this country for a few hundred years. So yeah, sorry, Siren, but you haven't reinvented the wheel. But hey, a good shot anyway, and it was not too bad a beer. Guys, if you can get hold of one of these, because this isn't just one of the 10th anniversary specials, I think this beer is readily available. Let me know down in the comments down below what you think of Memento, the Siren Best, Super Best, Improved Best Bitter. Everyone else, if you can't get hold of it, no worries. We'll be back with more beer reviews real soon. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. Things are kind of, in the UK, they're kind of holding on to the sort of Indian summer, but for God knows how long, because winter is definitely coming.